Commander Veltar stared at the display screen with confusion. The bright green dots on the monitor showed something that should not exist. His long blue fingers moved across the control panel as he checked the readings again. The same impossible numbers appeared. "Sir, you need to see this," called out Navigator Crix from across the control room. His voice carried worry that made other crew members look up from their work. Veltar walked over to Crix's station. The navigator's 4 eyes were wide with concern as he pointed at his screen. "This reading cannot be correct. The computer says there is a vessel moving at impossible speed." "Show me the data," Veltar said, leaning over the console. Crix's clawed hands danced over the buttons. Numbers and charts filled the screen. "The object appeared here, at the edge of our sensor range. Look at this speed calculation." Veltar read the numbers twice. Then he read them again. "This must be wrong. Nothing moves this fast through space." "I ran the check 3 times, sir. The computer confirms it. This vessel is moving at speeds that break all known laws of space travel." The commander felt his stomach twist. In his 40 years of service to the Galactic Empire, he had never seen anything like this. He had monitored thousands of ships from hundreds of different species. All of them followed the same basic rules of physics. "Where did it come from?" Veltar asked. Crix pointed to a dark area on the star map. "From the outer rim, sir. From the empty zone where no one lives." The empty zone was a region of space that the Empire had explored long ago. They found nothing there except old, dead stars and empty planets. No life, no civilization, no reason for anyone to go there. Could it be pirates? Veltar wondered aloud. "No pirate ship moves like this, sir. Look at the energy readings." The energy signature on the screen was unlike anything in the Empire database. Veltar had access to information about every known species in the galaxy. The Empire had been keeping records for over 10,000 years. Every ship design, every engine type, every power source was documented. This ship matched nothing. "Get me a visual," Veltar ordered. The main screen changed to show the star field ahead. At first, Veltar saw only the normal view of space with distant stars. Then Crix enhanced the image and zoomed in. A small shape appeared in the center of the screen. It was too far away to see clearly, but it was definitely artificial. The ship had a strange design that did not look like any known vessel. "Computer, identify the ship," Veltar commanded. The station's main computer, one of the most advanced in the Empire, processed the request. After several seconds, it gave its answer. "No match found in database. Design unknown. Origin unknown." Veltar felt cold fear creep up his spine. The Empire database contained information about every spacefaring species in the galaxy. If the computer could not identify this ship, it meant only one thing. This vessel came from somewhere completely unknown. "Sir, there is more," Crix said, his voice getting higher with worry. "The ship is not slowing down. It is still accelerating." "That is impossible. What is its current heading?" Crix worked at his console for several moments. When he looked up, his face had gone pale. "Sir, if it maintains this course and speed, it will reach the core worlds in less than 2 days." The core worlds were the heart of the Galactic Empire. Billions of beings lived there. The Emperor himself ruled from the capital world of Zentara, Prime. Veltar knew he had to act fast. "Send an emergency message to Imperial Command. Tell them we have detected an unknown vessel of impossible speed heading toward the core systems." "Yes, sir," replied Communications Officer Thekva from her station. "Also send the message to Admiral Threshka's fleet. They are the closest military force to the projected path." As his crew worked to send the urgent messages, Veltar continued to study the mysterious ship. The vessel maintained its incredible speed without any sign of slowing down. Most ships had to slow down periodically to avoid damaging their engines or running out of fuel. This ship showed no such limitations. "Sir, I am getting strange readings from the space around the vessel," reported sensor technician Quilm. "What kind of readings?" "The space itself seems to be bending, like the ship is warping reality around it." Veltar had heard theories about such technology. Some of the Empire's greatest scientists had imagined ways to bend space and time to achieve faster travel. But it was all theory. No one had ever built such a device. Could this be some kind of new Imperial technology? Veltar asked himself aloud. Crix shook his head. "I checked with Imperial Command. They have no knowledge of any experimental vessels in this region." The bridge fell quiet except for the soft sounds of electronic equipment. Every crew member was thinking the same thing. If this ship was not from the Empire, and it was not in any database, then it had to come from somewhere completely unknown. "Sir, the vessel just changed course slightly," Crix announced. Veltar looked at the updated projection. The new course was even more direct toward the core worlds. "It knows exactly where it is going." This fact made everything more frightening. A random vessel might just be passing through Imperial space, but this ship was clearly heading somewhere specific. It had a purpose. "Communications, has Imperial Command responded to our message?" "Yes, sir. They confirm they have no knowledge of this vessel. They are treating this as a potential threat. All core world defense systems are being activated." Veltar nodded. The Empire had powerful defenses around its most important worlds, but those defenses were designed to stop normal ships following normal physics. Would they work against something that could bend space itself? "Continue monitoring the vessel," Veltar ordered. "Record everything, speed, course changes, energy readings, everything." "Sir, what do you think it is?" asked young technician Brill Oak. Veltar looked at the mysterious shape on the screen. "I do not know. But whatever it is going to change everything." The commander was right, though he did not yet know how much. The small vessel on their screens carried something that the galaxy had never seen before. It carried the last survivors of Earth, and they were about to turn the entire Galactic Empire upside down. As the hours passed, more reports came in from other monitoring stations. The vessel maintained its impossible speed. It showed no signs of stopping or even slowing down. Whatever drove this ship was beyond anything the Empire understood. Veltar and his crew could only watch and wait as the unknown vessel raced toward the heart of their civilization. Soon, everyone in the galaxy would know that something new had arrived, something that moved faster than should be possible and came from a place that should not exist. The age of humanity was about to begin. Emperor Zalthmore stood in the center of the Grand Council chamber, his golden robes flowing around his tall figure. The massive room was filled with the most important beings in the Galactic Empire: ministers, admirals, scientists, and advisors from dozens of different species had gathered for an emergency meeting. The Emperor's 6 eyes focused on the large display screen showing the path of the unknown vessel. The ship had crossed 3 star systems since Commander Veltar first detected it. Journeys that should take weeks were completed in hours. "Tell me again what we know," the Emperor commanded, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. Admiral Threshka stepped forward. She was a tall, powerful being from the warrior species of Korath. Her blue skin was marked with the scars of many battles. Your Majesty, the vessel maintains impossible speed. It has crossed over 50 light-years in the past day. Our fastest ships would need months to cover the same distance. Defense Minister Kethron, a nervous creature with multiple arms and a worried expression, added his concerns. The ship shows no response to our communication attempts. We have broadcast standard greeting messages in over 200 languages. There has been no reply. Dr. Quilvin, the Empire's chief scientist, approached the display screen. Her small, thin body moved quickly as she pointed to the energy readings. Your Majesty, the power signature is completely unknown to us. The ship appears to be creating some kind of space distortion around itself. It is as if the vessel is folding space. To achieve these speeds, Emperor Zalthmore processed this information carefully. In his long life, he had seen the Empire grow from a small alliance of worlds to the dominant force in the galaxy. He had dealt with pirates, rebels, and unknown species before. But this was different. Could this be a weapon? He asked. Admiral, Threshka nodded grimly. That is our primary concern, Your Majesty. A vessel that can move this fast could strike any target in the Empire before we could respond. Our defense fleets would be useless. What are our options? The Emperor inquired. I have positioned the Third Fleet along the vessel's projected path, Admiral Threshka reported. They are ready to intercept, but I must warn you. If this ship can move as fast as it appears, they might not be able to stop it. Minister Kethron waved his multiple arms nervously. Your Majesty, perhaps we should evacuate the core worlds. If this vessel is hostile, millions of lives could be at risk. Evacuate? The Emperor's voice carried displeasure. The Galactic Empire does not run from single ship. Meanwhile, far from the Imperial capital, aboard the mysterious vessel, Captain Lee Min-ho sat in his command chair studying the displays around him. The small bridge of the ship, Determination, was cramped and filled with equipment that looked rough and improvised. Unlike the elegant technology of the Empire, human technology appeared crude but functional. Lee Min-ho was a man in his 40s, with tired eyes and graying hair. The stress of leading the last survivors of humanity showed clearly on his face. He wore a simple uniform that had seen better days. G1. How are the engines holding up? He asked his chief engineer. Park G1 looked up from her console, wiping sweat from her forehead. She was a brilliant woman in her 30s who had helped design their experimental drive system. The spacefold drive is running at maximum capacity, Captain. But it was never designed for this kind of extended use. I cannot promise how much longer it will last. Communications Officer Kim Sora turned from her station. She was young, barely in her 20s, but had learned to speak several alien languages from the radio signals they had intercepted. Captain, I am receiving more communication attempts from the aliens. They seem to be trying different languages. Can you understand any of it? Lee Min-ho asked. Some words, yes. They appear to be asking us to identify ourselves and state our intentions. They sound worried. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun, a serious man who had been a soldier before Earth's destruction, studied his weapons display. Captain, my sensors show multiple large ships moving to intercept us. They have powerful weapons. Lee Min-ho closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about Earth. Now nothing but radioactive dust floating in space. He thought about the billions of people who had died when the cosmic phenomenon had consumed their homeworld. He thought about the genetic samples and cultural records stored in the ship's vault, the last remnants of human civilization. We cannot stop now. he said finally. Earth is gone. We are all that remains of humanity. If we slow down or turn back, we will never find a place to rebuild. Science Officer Song Yuna spoke up from her station. The woman was in her late 30s and served as the keeper of Earth's genetic archives. Captain, the aliens seem to have a large civilization. Their communication signals suggest they control many star systems. Perhaps they could help us. Or destroy us, Choi Hyun added grimly. We will maintain course, Lee Minho decided. Sora, prepare a message in their language. Tell them we are refugees seeking shelter. Tell them we mean no harm. Back in the imperial capital, Emperor Zalthmore made his own decision. Admiral Threshka, deploy your fleet, but do not fire unless fired upon. We will attempt peaceful contact. First, Your Majesty, what if the ship does not stop? Then we will learn what kind of beings can build vessels that move faster than physics should allow. Dr. Quilven studied the energy readings one more time. Your Majesty, I have a theory. What if this ship comes from a species that developed technology we never imagined? What if they achieved something we thought impossible? You mean they are more advanced than us? Minister Cathron asked with fear in his voice. Possibly. Or desperate enough to try things we would never risk. Emperor Zalthmore considered this. The Empire had grown powerful by absorbing other species and their technologies. They had always been the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy. The idea that someone might surpass them was both frightening and fascinating. Continue. All attempts at communication, he ordered, and prepare for first contact protocols. If these beings are truly more advanced than us, we must approach them carefully. Admiral Threshka saluted. Yes, Your Majesty, but if they prove hostile, then we defend our people with everything we have. As the meeting broke up, each leader returned to their duties with heavy hearts. The unknown vessel continued its impossible journey toward the heart of their civilization. Soon they would learn whether it brought salvation or destruction. Aboard the Determination, Captain Lee Minho looked at the faces of his crew. These 11 people were all that remained of humanity. Whatever happened next would determine whether their species survived or died with them in the darkness of space. The first contact between humanity and the Galactic Empire was only hours away. Dr. Quilven worked without rest in her laboratory deep within the Imperial Science Complex. Her team of the galaxy's brightest minds gathered around holographic displays showing the impossible data from the mysterious vessel. The readings made no sense according to everything they knew about physics and engineering. Look at these material scans, she said to her assistant, Dr. Vector. The ship's hull appears to be made from metals that should not exist. Dr. Vector studied the display with his large, analytical eyes. The molecular structure shows elements we have never seen before. How is this possible? That is not the strangest part, Dr. Quilven continued. She changed the display to show the ship's energy signature. Watch this. The vessel is creating a bubble in space-time around itself. It is not moving through space in the normal way. It is making space move around it. The concept was mind-bending. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy used the same basic principles for faster-than-light travel. They would jump into hyperspace, travel through that alternate dimension, then jump back to normal space. It was dangerous and required massive amounts of energy, but it worked. This ship was doing something completely different. Instead of going around the laws of physics, it was rewriting them. Sir, we have new readings, called out junior researcher Tillum from across the laboratory. The ship just passed through the Nexus system. It ignored the gravity well of the main star completely. Dr. Quilvin rushed to look at the new data. This is impossible. That star has a massive gravitational field. It should have pulled the ship off course or at least slowed it down. The readings show the ship's space-time bubble protected it completely. It passed through the system as if the star was not even there. Meanwhile, aboard the Determination, Engineer Park Ji-won watched her instruments with growing concern. Red warning lights flashed across her engineering station. The experimental space-fold drive that had saved them from Earth's destruction was pushing beyond its design limits. "Captain," she called to Lee Min-ho through the ship's communication system. "The drive core is overheating. We are running at 120% of maximum safe power." Lee Min-ho's voice came back over the speakers. "How much longer can we maintain this speed?" "At this rate? Maybe 12 more hours before the drive burns out completely." Lee Min-ho closed his eyes as he sat in his command chair. The memories of Earth's final days played in his mind like a terrible movie. He remembered the cosmic storm that had appeared without warning, consuming everything in its path. He remembered the desperate escape in their prototype ship, watching through the rear cameras as their home planet cracked apart and dissolved into energy. "We have to keep going," he told his crew. "If we slow down now, we might never get another chance to find a new home." Science Officer Song Yuna looked up from her station where she was monitoring the ship's precious cargo. "Captain, the genetic samples are stable. The cultural archives are secure. Even if something happens to us, future humans could be recreated from our data." The thought gave Lee Min-ho little comfort. Data and genetic samples were not the same as living, breathing people with hopes and dreams. Navigation Officer Yu Tai-hyung called out from his position. "Captain, I am detecting multiple large ships ahead of us. They appear to be moving to intercept our course." "How many ships?" Lee Min-ho asked. "Dozens, sir. They are much larger than us, and they are armed." Tactical Officer Choi Hyun studied his defensive systems. "Captain, we have no weapons except for basic mining tools. If they decide to attack us, we cannot fight back." "We are not here to fight," Lee Min-ho reminded his crew. "We are refugees looking for a home." Communications Officer Kim Sora continued working to decode the alien languages. She had been listening to their radio transmissions for hours, slowly, learning their words and grammar. "Captain, I think I can understand some of their messages now," she reported. "They are calling us an unknown vessel and asking us to identify ourselves and state our purpose. Can you respond to them?" "I can try, but my pronunciation might be wrong." "Do your best, Sora." Back in the Imperial Science Complex, Dr. Quilvin made a discovery that changed everything. She was analyzing the ship's construction when she noticed something strange about the materials. "Vector, look at this," she called excitedly. "These metals are not naturally occurring. They have been artificially created." "You mean the beings who built this ship can create new elements?" "More than that. They appear to have discovered how to make materials that are stronger and lighter than anything we use. But look at the manufacturing marks." Dr. Vector examined the data closely. "These construction patterns, they look crude, almost primitive." "Exactly. The beings who built this ship have incredibly advanced knowledge, but their manufacturing technology is basic. It is as if they had to build the most advanced vessel in the galaxy using tools from a less developed civilization." This discovery raised new questions. What kind of species could understand space-time manipulation but still used rough construction methods? Why would they build such an advanced ship with such simple tools? Sir, I have another reading you should see, Dr. Vector said, pointing to a new display. The ship is not just bending space around itself. It is also creating temporal distortions. Time distortions. Yes. Time is moving slightly slower inside the ship's bubble than outside it. The beings aboard are experiencing time at a different rate than the rest of the universe. Dr. Quilven stared at the readings in amazement. They are not just moving faster than light. They are moving faster than time itself. Aboard the Determination, Medical Officer Han Junho was checking on the crew's health. The strange effects of their space-fold drive were putting stress on their bodies that no human had ever experienced before. Captain, the crew is showing signs of temporal displacement syndrome, he reported. We are aging slightly slower than normal because of the time distortion around our ship. Is it dangerous? Lee Minho asked. Not immediately. But if we maintain this speed for much longer, there could be long-term effects. Cultural archivist Jang Mira looked up from her station where she was organizing humanity's historical records. Captain, whatever happens to us, we must make sure these records survive. They contain everything we know about human art, music, literature, and philosophy. Lee Minho nodded. All of you have done incredible work. You have given humanity a chance to survive, even if we do not make it ourselves. The crew worked in determined silence as their impossible ship continued its journey toward the unknown. Behind them lay the ashes of Earth. Ahead lay either salvation or destruction. In the imperial capital, Emperor Zalthmore received Dr. Quilven's latest report. The unknown vessel was beyond anything in their experience. It represented technology that could revolutionize their entire civilization or destroy it. Your Majesty, Admiral Threshka reported, my fleet is in position. We will intercept the vessel in 6 hours. Are you prepared for first contact with beings who can bend space and time? As prepared as anyone can be, Your Majesty. The Emperor looked out at the stars through the great window of his palace. Somewhere out there, an impossible ship carried beings with impossible technology toward his empire. Soon, everything would change. News of the impossible vessel spread across the Empire's communication networks faster than the ship itself. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched their screens in fear and amazement as reports came in about the unknown craft that defied all known laws of physics. On the industrial world of Mecron 7, factory workers stopped their machines to gather around news displays. The head of the Metal Workers Union, a stout being named Grix Tal, shook his massive head as he watched the reports. A ship that can bend space itself, he muttered to his fellow workers. What kind of beings can build such a thing? On the agricultural world of Verde Prime, farmers looked up at the sky with new fear. Elder Harvester Kelina addressed her community through the planetary communication system. My friends, we have lived in peace for generations under the protection of the Empire. But now something comes that our protectors do not understand. The panic was worst on the core worlds themselves, where the Empire's most important citizens lived. On Zentara Prime, the capital world, crowds gathered in the streets outside government buildings demanding answers. Some called for the military to destroy the unknown vessel before it could reach them. Others wanted to hide in underground shelters until the danger passed. Minister Kethron stood before a crowd of reporters in the Imperial Press Center. His multiple arms moved nervously as he tried to calm the growing hysteria. Citizens of the Empire, he began, I want to assure you that our military forces are fully prepared to handle this situation. Admiral Threshka's fleet is moving to intercept the unknown vessel. Minister? Called out a reporter from the Galactic News Network. Is it true that this ship uses technology beyond our understanding? Ketheron hesitated. Our scientists are studying all available data. We will know more soon. What if it is? A weapon sent by our enemies? Shouted another reporter. The Empire has no enemies capable of building such a vessel, Ketheron replied, though his voice lacked confidence. In the Imperial archives, the Empire's greatest historians searched through ancient records for any mention of similar technology. Chief Archivist Moltara led a team of researchers through databases containing millions of years of galactic history. Search for any reference to space-time manipulation, she ordered her team. Look for legends, myths, or scientific theories about folding space. Hours passed as they dug through the vast collection of knowledge. Finally, Junior Archivist Pelham made a discovery that sent chills through the research team. Chief Archivist, I found something, he announced excitedly. In the oldest records, there are mentions of a species called the Forerunners. Moltara hurried to look at the ancient text displayed on Pelham's screen. Read it aloud. The Forerunners were a mysterious species that existed millions of years ago. They were said to possess technology that could bend the laws of reality itself. They built ships that moved faster than thought and created wonders that defied understanding. Then, one day they simply vanished, leaving no trace of their existence. The research team exchanged worried glances. Could the approaching vessel be connected to these legendary beings? Had the Forerunners returned after millions of years? Send this information to the Emperor immediately, Moltara ordered. Aboard. The situation was becoming desperate. Engineer Park Ji-won watched her displays with growing alarm as the spacefold drive pushed beyond all safe limits. Captain, she called to Lee Min-ho, the drive core temperature is approaching critical levels. If we do not reduce power soon, the entire system will suffer catastrophic failure. Captain Lee Min-ho studied the navigation display showing their position relative to the alien ships ahead. How much farther to reach those ships? Navigation Officer Yu Tae-hyung calculated quickly. At current speed, about 4 hours, sir. And how long before the drive fails? Park Ji-won checked her readings. Again, maybe 2 hours if we are lucky. The terrible math was clear. They would not make it to the alien fleet before their drive system burned out. Once it failed, they would be stranded in empty space with no way to continue their journey. There has to be another option, Lee Min-ho said, more to himself than to his crew. Science Officer Song Yuna looked up from her genetic archives. Captain, maybe we do not need to reach their fleet. If we can get close enough to send a message, perhaps they will come to us. Communications Officer Kim Sora had been working for hours to improve her understanding of the alien languages. Captain, I think I can send a basic message now. I can tell them we are in trouble and need help. Do it, Lee Min-ho ordered. Sora composed a simple message in what she hoped was proper alien grammar. She broadcast it on multiple frequencies, hoping the alien ships would receive it. Unknown ships, her message said in halting alien words. We are peaceful travelers. Our ship is failing. We need help. Please respond. The message traveled through space at the speed of light toward Admiral Threshka's fleet. Aboard the Imperial flagship Dominator, Communications Officer Zelkara detected the incoming transmission. She quickly ran it through the ship's language. Computers to translate it into Standard Imperial. Admiral, she called excitedly. We are receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel. They are speaking Imperial Standard, though with strange pronunciation. Admiral Threshka moved quickly to the communication station. What does the message say? They claim to be peaceful travelers, Admiral. They say their ship is failing and they need help. The Admiral studied the tactical display showing the approaching vessel. It was still moving at impossible speed, but something about its energy signature had changed. Tactical Officer, what is the status of the unknown ship? Tactical Officer Brexnor examined his sensors carefully. Admiral, the vessel appears to be experiencing some kind of system failure. Its energy output is fluctuating wildly. Could this be a trick? Unknown, Admiral. But if they are telling the truth, that ship could explode at any moment. Admiral Threshka faced a difficult decision. The approaching vessel represented either the greatest threat the Empire had ever faced, or a group of beings in desperate need of help. If she ordered her ships to fire and they were innocent refugees, she would be responsible for genocide. If she offered help and they were enemies, she could be walking into a trap. Admiral, her science officer reported, the vessel has dropped out of its faster-than-light travel mode. It is now moving at normal speed, but it appears to be drifting. The impossible ship that had terrified an entire empire was now limping through space like a wounded animal. Whatever technology had allowed it to bend space and time had finally failed. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked her second-in-command. Admiral Threshka looked at the drifting ship on her screen. Inside that vessel were beings who had achieved something no one thought possible. They had broken the laws of physics and crossed impossible distances. Now they were helpless and asking for aid. "Signal the fleet," she commanded. "We are going to rescue them." "Admiral, is that wise? We still do not know what they are." "They are beings in trouble," she replied firmly. "The Empire does not abandon those who need help, regardless of their origin." As the Imperial fleet changed course to intercept the drifting determination, news of the ship's failure spread across the galaxy. The panic began to fade, replaced by curiosity about the mysterious beings who had crossed the void in their impossible vessel. Soon, the galaxy would meet humanity for the first time. The Imperial flagship Dominator slowly approached the drifting human vessel. Admiral Threshka stood on her bridge, watching the strange ship grow larger on the main screen. Around them, dozens of other Imperial warships maintained defensive positions, their weapons ready but not aimed at the mysterious craft. "Admiral, we are receiving more transmissions from the vessel," reported Communications Officer Zelkara. "Put it on the main speakers," Admiral Threshka ordered. The bridge filled with the sound of an alien voice speaking in broken Imperial standard. "Imperial ships? This is Captain Lee Minho of the vessel Determination. We are refugees from a destroyed world. Our ship is damaged. We ask for your help." The Admiral studied the small craft on her screen. Compared to her massive flagship, the human vessel looked tiny and fragile. Its hull showed signs of rough construction and emergency repairs. This was not the sleek, advanced ship she had expected. "Captain Lee Minho," she spoke into her communication system. "This is Admiral Threshka of the Imperial Fleet. You have entered Imperial space without permission and alarmed our entire civilization. What is your purpose here?" There was a pause before the reply came. "Admiral, we seek only a place to live. Our world was destroyed by a cosmic storm. We are the only survivors of our species." Science Officer Dr. Kel UX looked up from his sensor station. "Admiral, the vessel contains only 12 life forms. The ship itself appears to be held together with improvised repairs." Admiral Threshka found this hard to believe. 12 beings built a ship that can fold space and time? "The readings confirm it, Admiral. There are only 12 life signs aboard." On the human ship, Captain Lee Minho sat in his command chair, trying to project calm while his heart raced with fear. Around him, his 11 crew members worked at their stations, monitoring the massive alien ships that surrounded them. "Captain," Communications Officer Kim Sora reported, "the aliens seem willing to talk. Their leader sounds curious rather than hostile." "That is good news," Lee Minho replied. "How is your translation working?" "Better now. I am starting to understand their grammar patterns." Engineer Park Ji-won looked up from her damaged controls. "Captain, the spacefold drive is completely burned out. We cannot move under our own power." Medical Officer Han Junho, how is the crew holding up? "Everyone is tired and stressed, but we are all healthy," Han Junho reported. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun studied the alien ships on his displays. "Captain, they have enough firepower to destroy a planet, but their weapons are not aimed at us." "That suggests they are willing to listen," Lee Minho said hopefully. Admiral Threshka made her decision. "Signal the unknown vessel. Tell them we are sending a boarding party to assess their situation." "Admiral, is that safe?" asked her second-in-command, Commander Velkan. "They claim to be refugees with a damaged ship. If that is true, they pose no threat. If it is false, we will discover their real purpose." "Yes, Admiral." 30 minutes later, an Imperial shuttle approached the Determination. Captain Lee Minho watched through his ship's cameras as the alien craft extended a docking tube to connect with their airlock. "All crew members prepare for first contact with an alien species," he announced over the ship's communication system. "Remember, we represent all of humanity now. Stay calm and be respectful." The human crew gathered in the main corridor near the airlock. They wore their best uniforms, though the clothes showed signs of their long journey and hasty escape from Earth. The airlock cycled open, and Admiral Threshka stepped through, followed by 2 guards and a translator. The Admiral was tall and imposing, with blue skin marked by battle scars. Her uniform displayed the rank and decorations of a high-ranking military officer. Captain Lee Minho stepped forward and attempted a formal bow, hoping it would be seen as a sign of respect. "Admiral Threshka, I am Captain Lee Minho. Welcome aboard our ship." The Admiral studied the humans with her sharp eyes. They were smaller than most species she knew, with smooth skin and strange hair on their heads. They looked young and fragile, not like beings who could build impossible technology. "Captain Lee Minho," she said through her translator device, "you claim to be refugees. From where do you come?" "We come from a world called Earth, Admiral. It was located far from here, beyond the rim of your galaxy." "Show me," the Admiral commanded. Lee. Minho led the alien delegation to the ship's navigation center, where Officer Yu Tae-hyung had prepared a star chart showing their journey. The map displayed a path from the outer edge of the galaxy to their current position. "This is impossible," Admiral Threshka said, studying the chart. "No ship can cross such distances in so short a time." Science Officer Song Yuna stepped forward, carrying a data pad. "Admiral, may I explain our technology?" The Admiral nodded, and Song Yuna began her presentation. "Our spacefold drive creates a bubble around our ship that compresses space-time. Instead of moving through space, we make space move around us." "How did your species develop such advanced technology?" Song Yuna's expression grew sad. "We developed it out of desperation, Admiral. When we detected the cosmic storm approaching Earth, our scientists worked around the clock to find a way to escape. We built this ship in just 6 months using every resource we could find." Admiral Threshka examined the crude construction around her. The walls were made of metal plates welded together roughly. Cables and pipes ran along the ceiling in an improvised manner. This did not look like the work of an advanced civilization. You built this ship in 6 months? Yes, Admiral. We had no choice. We knew Earth would be destroyed, so we took everything we could carry and fled. Engineer Park Ji-won showed the Admiral the burned-out remains of their spacefold drive. The system was never designed for such a long journey. We pushed it far beyond its safe limits. How many of your people escaped? Captain Lee Min-ho's face grew heavy with sorrow. Only us, Admiral. 12 people. That is all that remains of humanity. The Admiral stared at the 12 humans gathered before her. These small, fragile beings had watched their entire world die. They had built impossible technology in mere months and crossed the galaxy in a desperate search for a new home. What do you carry with you? She asked. Cultural archivist Jang Mira stepped forward. We have genetic samples from thousands of Earth species, including humans. We have records of our art, music, literature, and history. Everything we could save from our civilization. You carry the genetic code of your entire species? Yes, Admiral. If we can find a safe world, we can use the samples to rebuild humanity. Admiral, Threshka felt something she had rarely experienced in her long military career. These beings had lost everything, yet they had not given up hope. They had achieved the impossible to save their species from extinction. Captain Lee Min-ho, what do you ask of the Empire? We ask only for a chance to survive, Admiral. A world where we can live and rebuild our species. We have knowledge and technology that we would gladly share in exchange for sanctuary. The Admiral looked at each of the 12 humans. They watched her with hope and fear, knowing that her decision would determine whether humanity survived or died in the cold of space. Captain, you and your crew will accompany me to the Imperial capital. Emperor Zalthmore himself will decide your fate. Thank you, Admiral, Lee Min-ho said, relief clear in his voice. As the Imperial boarding party prepared to leave, Admiral Threshka took one more look around the crude but functional human ship. 12 beings had built this vessel and crossed impossible distances to save their species. She had never seen such determination and ingenuity. The galaxy was about to meet humanity, and nothing would ever be the same. The great conference room aboard Admiral Threshka's flagship had been transformed for the most important first contact in Imperial history. The 12 humans sat on one side of a large table, while Admiral Threshka, her senior officers, and several Imperial scientists sat on the other. Translation devices ensured that both sides could understand each other clearly. Emperor Zalthmore himself attended the meeting through a holographic projection. His image filled one end of the room, his 6 eyes studying the small group of human survivors with intense curiosity. Captain Lee Min-ho, the Emperor began, his deep voice carrying across the room, tell me about your species and your world. Lee Min-ho stood respectfully before addressing the ruler of the galaxy's greatest empire. Your Majesty, humanity evolved on a world we called Earth. It was a beautiful planet with blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds. For thousands of years, our species grew and learned, developing technology and culture. Science Officer Song Yuna activated a small device that projected images above the table. The Imperial delegation watched in fascination as scenes of Earth appeared before them. Rolling hills covered in grass, vast cities filled with towering buildings, oceans teeming with life. Your world was very different from most planets in the Empire, observed Dr. Quilvin, the Empire's chief scientist. The variety of life forms is remarkable. Earth was home to millions of different species, Song Yuna explained. We shared our world with countless other forms of life. We learned much from studying the other creatures that lived alongside us. How advanced was your civilization? Emperor Zalthmore asked. We had developed space travel, but only within our own star system, Lee Minho replied. We had established colonies on nearby planets and moons. We thought we had time to slowly expand our presence in space. What changed? Admiral Threshika inquired. The humans exchanged sad glances before Captain Lee Minho continued. Our astronomers detected something approaching our solar system. At first, they thought it was a natural phenomenon, like a massive solar storm. But as it grew closer, they realized it was something far more dangerous. Communications Officer Kim Sora stood and added her part of the story. We called it the Void Storm. It was a cosmic phenomenon that consumed matter and energy, turning everything it touched into nothingness. It moved through space, destroying entire star systems. How large was this phenomenon? Dr. Quilvin asked with scientific curiosity. Large enough to swallow our entire solar system, Navigation Officer Yu Tae-hyung replied. When we calculated its path, we realized it would reach Earth in less than 2 years. The Imperial delegation sat in stunned silence. They had seen many disasters in their long history, but nothing like what the humans described. Emperor Zalthmore leaned forward in his holographic projection. How did your species react to this threat? Engineer Park Ji-won stood to answer. At first, there was panic and despair. Many people thought there was no hope of survival, but our greatest scientists and engineers came together to find a solution. What solution could possibly work against such a threat? Admiral Threshka asked. Escape, Park Ji-won said simply. If we could not stop the void storm, we would run from it, but we needed technology that did not exist yet. The spacefold drive, Dr. Quilvin said with understanding. Yes. Our scientists theorized that if we could bend space around a ship, we could travel faster than anything thought possible. But the theory had never been tested. Cultural archivist Jang Mira took up the story. Every nation on Earth contributed to the project. We built the prototype ship in secret, knowing that we could only save a small number of people. How were you chosen? Emperor Zalthmore asked. Captain Lee Minho's voice grew heavy with emotion. We volunteered. Someone had to carry humanity's genetic codes and cultural records to safety. We knew it was likely a one-way mission. Medical Officer Han Junho spoke up. Each of us represents a different aspect of human knowledge. Together we carry everything needed to rebuild our species and civilization. Show me your genetic archives, Dr. Quilvin requested. Song Yuna activated another device that displayed holographic DNA structures. We carry genetic samples from over 50,000 human individuals, representing all ethnic groups and geographic regions of Earth. We also have samples from thousands of other Earth species. The Imperial scientists studied the complex genetic patterns with amazement. The diversity of Earth life was unlike anything they had seen before. Your species shows remarkable genetic variety, Dr. Quilvin observed. This suggests rapid evolution and adaptation. Humans are very adaptable, Song Yuna agreed. We lived in every climate on Earth, from frozen polar regions to hot deserts. This forced us to develop flexible thinking and problem-solving skills. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun stood to continue the narrative. The void storm reached Earth sooner than predicted. We barely had time to finish the ship and gather our supplies before we had to launch. What happened to the rest of your species? Admiral Threshka asked gently. The humans fell silent for a moment. Then Captain Lee Minho spoke with visible pain. We watched through our ship's cameras as Earth was consumed. 10 billion people died in a matter of hours. Cities, forests, oceans, everything turned to dust and then to nothing. The Imperial delegation felt the weight of such tremendous loss. They had witnessed wars and disasters, but the complete destruction of an entire world and species was almost beyond comprehension. "How did you survive the journey here?" Emperor Zalthmore asked. "We pushed our spacefold drive far beyond its design limits," Park Ji-won explained. "The journey took months and nearly killed us several times. We had to make emergency repairs while traveling at impossible speeds." "Why did you come to our galaxy?" Admiral Threshka inquired. "We detected your radio signals," Communications Officer Kim Sora replied. "Your communications told us that a great civilization existed here. We hoped you might help us find a new home." Engineer Park Ji-won added, "We also knew our drive would eventually fail. This was the farthest we could travel." Emperor Zalthmore studied the 12 humans for a long moment. These small beings had witnessed the death of their entire world. They had built impossible technology in desperate circumstances. They had crossed the void between galaxies, carrying the genetic future of their species. "What do you offer the Empire in return for sanctuary?" he asked. Science Officer Song Yuna stood and activated one final holographic display. "We offer our knowledge, Your Majesty. Our scientists developed spacefold technology in just 6 months. We learned to compress space-time, manipulate matter at the quantum level, and create materials that bend the laws of physics. You would share this technology with us?" Captain Lee Minho nodded. "We seek only a chance to rebuild humanity. In exchange, we would gladly share everything we have learned." Dr. Quilvin looked excited at the prospect of studying human technology. "Your Majesty, their methods could revolutionize Imperial science. Their adaptability could benefit us as well," Admiral Threshka added. "They achieved in months what our civilization has not accomplished in millennia." Emperor Zalthmore considered carefully. These humans represented something unique in the galaxy. They were survivors who had faced extinction and found a way to endure. Their technology could advance the Empire by centuries. Their genetic diversity could enrich Imperial civilization. But more than that, they represented something the Empire had rarely seen. A species that refused to give up hope even in the face of ultimate disaster. "Captain Lee Minho," the Emperor said finally, "the Empire will hear your full request. You will come to the capital world to present your case formally." The humans looked at each other with hope and relief. They had survived first contact. Now, they would have a chance to save their species. The future of humanity hung in the balance, but for the first time since Earth's destruction, there was reason for hope. 6 months had passed since the 12 human survivors first appeared in Imperial space. The galaxy had changed in ways that no one could have predicted. In the great halls of the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zalthmore stood before a gathering of his most important advisors, military leaders, and scientists to announce a decision that would reshape the future of the Empire. "Citizens of the galaxy," he began, his voice carrying to billions of beings across thousands of worlds, "today marks the beginning of a new age. The Empire welcomes humanity not as subjects, but as full partners in our civilization." The announcement sent waves of excitement and concern throughout Imperial space. On some worlds, beings celebrated the addition of the innovative humans to their society. On others, citizens worried about what changes these strange newcomers might bring. Captain Lee Minho stood beside the Emperor, wearing a new uniform that marked him as an Imperial advisor with special status. The other 11 humans had also been given positions that allowed them to use their unique skills to benefit the Empire while working to restore their own species. Dr. Quilvin presented her report to the gathering. In 6 months of working with human scientists, we have made advances that would normally take decades. Engineer Park Ji-won has helped us develop new manufacturing techniques that improve efficiency by 40%. Science Officer Song Yuna has solved 17 theoretical problems that had puzzled our greatest minds for centuries. The success stories continued. Communications Officer Kim Sora had revolutionized Imperial translation systems by developing new ways to understand alien languages. Navigation Officer Yu Tai-hyung had designed more efficient travel routes that reduced journey times across the Empire. Medical Officer Han Junho had introduced healing techniques based on human biology that worked surprisingly well for other species too. Most importantly, Dr. Quilvin continued, they have taught us to think differently about challenges. Human approaches to problem solving have inspired our own scientists to find new solutions to old problems. Admiral Threshka stepped forward to address the military implications. The humans have helped us develop new defensive strategies and technologies. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun has improved our fleet formations and battle tactics. But more than that, they have shown us the value of unconventional thinking in warfare. She gestured to a display showing the prototype of a new class of Imperial warship. Using human spacefold principles combined with Imperial manufacturing, we have built vessels that can travel faster and more efficiently than ever before. The new ships, designated the Unity class, were being produced in shipyards across the Empire. They incorporated human innovations with Imperial engineering expertise, creating vessels that surpassed anything previously built. Minister Ketheron, who had initially been most worried about the human arrival, now spoke with enthusiasm about their contributions. The economic benefits of human innovation have exceeded all projections. New technologies have created millions of jobs. Trade efficiency has improved by 20%. The humans have proven to be the most valuable addition to our civilization in recorded history. But the most important development was happening on a small world that the Empire had designated as humanity's new home. New Earth, as the humans had named it, was a beautiful planet with blue oceans and green continents that reminded them of their lost homeworld. Science Officer Song Yuna had been working with Imperial geneticists to begin the careful process of rebuilding humanity. Using the genetic samples they had carried from Earth, they had started growing new human embryos in artificial wombs. The first generation of new humans would be born within months. We estimate that within 50 years, New Earth will have a human population of over 1 million. Song Yuna reported to the gathering. Each generation will be educated in both human culture and Imperial science. They will grow up as citizens of the galaxy while maintaining their unique human perspectives. Cultural archivist Jang Mira had established the Human Cultural Institute on New Earth, where Earth's art, music, literature, and philosophy were being preserved and shared with other species. Imperial citizens from across the galaxy were visiting to learn about human creativity and innovation. Human stories and ideas are inspiring beings throughout the Empire, she reported. Our concept of celebrating individuals who overcome impossible odds has become popular in many cultures. Human music and art are being adapted by dozens of different species. Engineer Park Ji-won had achieved something that amazed even herself. Working with Imperial scientists, she had designed a new type of spacefold drive that was stable, efficient, and safe. The technology that had barely saved 12 desperate refugees was now being refined to transform galactic transportation. The new drive systems will reduce travel time between the farthest worlds of the Empire from months to days, she announced. We are also developing larger versions that could move entire fleets instantaneously. But Park Ji-won's most ambitious project was still in the planning stages. She had convinced the Emperor to support an incredible undertaking, an attempt to reverse the cosmic phenomenon that had destroyed Earth. We believe it may be possible to reconstruct our homeworld using advanced Imperial technology combined with human innovation, she explained. It would take decades and require resources from across the Empire, but the knowledge we would gain could prevent other worlds from suffering Earth's fate. The Emperor himself seemed energized by the possibilities that humanity brought to his realm. The arrival of these 12 beings has reminded us that the galaxy still holds wonders we have not imagined. Their refusal to accept defeat in the face of extinction has inspired our entire civilization. Captain Lee Min-ho was given the honor of closing the ceremony. He looked out at the gathering of beings from hundreds of different species, all now working together to build a better future. 6 months ago, we were the last survivors of a dead world, carrying nothing but hope and determination, he began. Today, we are partners in the greatest civilization the galaxy has ever known. We have learned that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. He paused to look at his 11 companions, each now leading important projects that would benefit billions of beings. Humanity survived because we never stopped believing that impossible things could become possible. The Empire has given us the resources to turn our desperate innovations into technologies that will help everyone. Together, we will build ships that travel faster than light itself. We will solve problems that have puzzled civilizations for millennia. We will explore new worlds and make new discoveries. And perhaps, someday, we will even bring our lost Earth back to life. The applause that followed came from beings across the galaxy. The partnership between humanity and the Empire had exceeded everyone's expectations. Human creativity combined with Imperial resources had created possibilities that neither could have achieved alone. As the ceremony ended, the 12 humans, who had once fled their dying world as desperate refugees, now stood as honored leaders in galactic civilization. They had not just survived, they had thrived, and in doing so, they had helped an entire galaxy thrive as well. Navigation Officer Yu Tai-hyung was already planning expeditions to explore the empty regions beyond the galactic rim using new technologies that could safely traverse the cosmic phenomena that had once seemed so threatening. Medical Officer Han Junho was working with Imperial healers to develop treatments for diseases that had plagued various species for generations. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun was training the next generation of Imperial military leaders in the human art of innovative strategy. Each human had found their place in this vast civilization while never forgetting their origins or their lost world. The Determination, their original ship, had been restored and placed in the Imperial Museum as a testament to human ingenuity and determination. But it was more than just a historical artifact. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when beings refused to give up hope. As Captain Lee Min-ho looked up at the stars from his new home on New Earth, he knew that humanity's greatest journey was just beginning. They had crossed the impossible distance between galaxies to survive. Now they would help their new allies cross impossible barriers to achieve wonders that neither species could have imagined alone. The last 12 humans had become the first. 12 ambassadors of a new age of cooperation and innovation that would reshape the galaxy forever. 6 months had passed since the 12 human survivors first appeared in Imperial space. The galaxy had changed in ways that no one could have predicted. In the great halls of the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zalthmore stood before a gathering of his most important advisors, military leaders, and scientists to announce a decision that would reshape the future of the Empire. "Citizens of the galaxy," he began, his voice carrying to billions of beings across thousands of worlds. "Today marks the beginning of a new age. The Empire welcomes humanity not as subjects, but as full partners in our civilization." The announcement sent waves of excitement and concern throughout Imperial space. On some worlds, beings celebrated the addition of the innovative humans to their society. On others, citizens worried about what changes these strange newcomers might bring. Captain Lee Minho stood beside the Emperor, wearing a new uniform that marked him as an Imperial advisor with special status. The other 11 humans had also been given positions that allowed them to use their unique skills to benefit the Empire while working to restore their own species. Dr. Quilvin presented her report to the gathering. In 6 months of working, with human scientists, we have made advances that would normally take decades. Engineer Park Ji-won has helped us develop new manufacturing techniques that improve efficiency by 40%. Science Officer Song Yuna has solved 17 theoretical problems that had puzzled our greatest minds for centuries. The success stories continued. Communications Officer Kim Sora had revolutionized Imperial translation systems by developing new ways to understand alien languages. Navigation Officer Yu Tae-hyung had designed more efficient travel routes that reduced journey times across the Empire. Medical Officer Han Junho had introduced healing techniques based on human biology that worked surprisingly well for other species, too. Most importantly, Dr. Quilvin continued, they have taught us to think differently about challenges, human. Approaches to problem-solving have inspired our own scientists to find new solutions to old problems. Admiral Threshka stepped forward to address the military implications. The humans have helped us develop new defensive strategies and technologies. Tactical Officer Choi Hyun has improved our fleet formations and battle tactics. But more than that, they have shown us the value of unconventional thinking in warfare. She gestured to a display showing the prototype of a new class of Imperial warship. Using human spacefold principles combined with Imperial manufacturing, we have built vessels that can travel faster and more efficiently than ever before. The new ships, designated the Unity class, were being produced in shipyards across the Empire. They incorporated human innovations with Imperial engineering expertise, creating vessels that surpassed anything previously built. Minister Kethron, who had initially been most worried about the human arrival, now spoke with enthusiasm about their contributions. The economic benefits of human innovation have exceeded all projections. New technologies have created millions of jobs. Trade efficiency has improved by 20%. The humans have proven to be the most valuable addition to our civilization in recorded history. But the most important development was happening on a small world that the Empire had designated as humanity's new home. New Earth, as the humans had named it, was a beautiful planet with blue oceans and green continents that reminded them of their lost homeworld. Science Officer Song Yuna had been working with Imperial geneticists to begin the careful process of rebuilding humanity. Using the genetic samples they had carried from Earth, they had started growing new human embryos in artificial wombs. The first generation of new humans would be born within months. We estimate that within 50 years, New Earth will have a human population of over 1 million, Song Yuna reported to the gathering. Each generation will be educated in both human culture and imperial science. They will grow up as citizens of the galaxy while maintaining their unique human perspectives. Cultural archivist Zhang Mira had established the Human Cultural Institute on New Earth, where Earth's art, music, literature, and philosophy were being preserved and shared with other species. Imperial citizens from across the galaxy were visiting to learn about human creativity and innovation. Human stories and ideas are inspiring beings throughout the Empire, she reported. Our concept of celebrating individuals who overcome impossible odds has become popular in many cultures. Human music and art are being adapted by dozens of different species. Engineer Park Ji-won had achieved something that amazed even herself. Working with Imperial scientists, she had designed a new type of spacefold drive that was stable, efficient, and safe. The technology that had barely saved 12 desperate refugees was now being refined to transform galactic transportation. The new drive systems will reduce travel time between the farthest worlds of the Empire from months to days, she announced. We are also developing larger versions that could move entire fleets instantaneously. But Park Ji-won's most ambitious project was still in the planning stages. She had convinced the Emperor to support an incredible undertaking, an attempt to reverse the cosmic phenomenon that had destroyed Earth. We believe it may be possible to reconstruct our homeworld using advanced Imperial technology combined with human innovation, she explained. It would take decades and require resources from across the Empire. But the knowledge we would gain could prevent other worlds from suffering Earth's fate. The Emperor himself seemed energized by the possibilities that humanity brought to his realm. The arrival of these 12 beings has reminded us that the galaxy still holds wonders we have not imagined. Their refusal to accept defeat in the face of extinction has inspired our entire civilization. Captain Lee Minho was given the honor of closing the ceremony. He looked out at the gathering of beings from hundreds of different species, all now working together to build a better future. 6 months ago, we were the last survivors of a dead world, carrying nothing but hope and determination, he began. Today, we are partners in the greatest civilization the galaxy has ever known. We have learned that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. He paused to look at his 11 companions, each now leading important projects that would benefit billions of beings. Humanity survived because we never stopped believing that impossible things could become possible. The Empire has given us the resources to turn our desperate innovations into technologies that will help everyone. Together, we will build ships that travel faster than light itself. We will solve problems that have puzzled civilizations for millennia. We will explore new worlds and make new discoveries. And perhaps, someday, we will even bring our lost Earth back to life. The applause that followed came from beings across the galaxy. The partnership between humanity and the Empire had exceeded everyone's expectations. Human creativity combined with Imperial resources had created possibilities that neither could have achieved alone. As the ceremony ended, the 12 humans who had once fled their dying world as desperate refugees now stood as honored leaders in galactic civilization. They had not just survived, they had thrived, and in doing so, they had helped an entire galaxy thrive as well. Navigation Officer Yu Tae-hyung was already planning expeditions to explore the empty regions beyond the galactic rim using new technologies that could safely traverse the cosmic phenomena that had once seemed so threatening. Medical Officer Han Junho was working with Imperial healers to develop treatments for diseases that had plagued various species for generations. Tactical Officer
Choi.
Hyun was training the next generation of Imperial military leaders in the human art of innovative strategy. Each human had found their place in this vast civilization while never forgetting their origins or their lost world. The determination. Their original ship had been restored and placed in the Imperial Museum as a testament to human ingenuity and determination. But it was more than just a historical artifact. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when beings refused to give up hope. As Captain Lee Minho looked up at the stars from his new home on New Earth, he knew that humanity's greatest journey was just beginning. They had crossed the impossible distance between galaxies to survive. Now they would help their new allies cross impossible barriers to achieve wonders that neither species could have imagined alone. The last 12 humans had become the first 12 ambassadors of a new age, of cooperation and innovation that would reshape the galaxy forever.